Cheers, Omar.
Cheers. Odyssey Cinemas in the back. We got all the records.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do a quick shout out to the Odyssey for letting us film in here, and here with Alex MacLean, and yeah, maybe give us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and stuff you like about the city.
Sure. Yeah, so I do a number of things. I'm a new media artist and electronic musician. I co-founded a digital art studio called Blue Heron Interactive, and I run a series in London called AV Nights. So we've got our next edition of that coming up at Honey Dip and Doughy V on May 2nd, and I'm bringing together a number of artists and visualists and immersive installation art and experimental films to just kind of make a whole night of sort of immersive art showcase in different ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then so I'm also involved with the Forest City Gallery. Shout out to them. And yeah, we're here at Odyssey Records today.
Yeah.
Because I forgot my key. And
Indeed.
Yeah, like it's so I kind of bring together different interests of mine, like interactive and immersive art. That takes the shape of installations and sometimes using stuff like augmented reality and virtual reality, and where you're combining sound and touch and really making things breathable for people, I guess, in a way, and allowing them to like enter a space and really feel the context of which the art is about. And I think that creates a really deep relationship with what their topic is and what the people around you. And so involved with that is this idea of using music and sound that really helps that topic sink in, the message sink in. And you're coming from a background of music and different types. I work a lot with modular synthesis and drum machines and field recordings, and those all tie in really well with the visual and interactive components of those things. So I do what I can to showcase that kind of thing in London as much as possible, and I think it's a really powerful medium that combines this segment of music and the segment of art and even dance, and it really comes together in this beautiful way where it's really walking this line between these different fields.
Cool.
How's that for?
That was good. No, that was good.
Just a bit of a rant.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a nice little rant. We love that.
Yeah.
And you talk a lot about the audio and the visual kind of experience. And thinking about that, would you say like the experience is curated? Is it different like from like each one? Like say like the event that you have at like Doughy V and Honey Dip?
Is it different for each?
Yeah, like is each event that you have like is it a different experience or?
Yeah, that's the goal. I think to create some variety, even within that context of working with this type, lights and sound. Depending on things can be more or less site specific in some cases where your location, your physical location, whether it's an outdoor venue or an indoor venue, can really tie in to the topic of the piece, and that's always a thing I look for when starting to plan out a project is how many things can we tie together, and is there some need or requirement to be really include something that's site specific, or is it more open-ended, or is it for a certain time of year? We do a lot of work for winter fests, so it's a lot about being outside in the cold and a snowy night and lighting up the night with the different effects and really trying to help everyone forget that their toes are getting numb. So that's always a fun part too. We did a piece in Cambridge for the Winterfest where you're projecting a laser onto a tree, and we had this walk through piece where it lights up, and there's a fog machine that really just illuminated everybody as they walked through. And then there was this moment where you're transferring. Idea was you would transfer your positive energy, and it would be emulated onto the tree, and it was a very like loud and proud and exciting moment for everybody as they walked through.
That's crazy. That's wild.
It was like such a fun night, and like one of my favorite nights so far doing this kind of thing, just because everyone was like, we're out in the cold in December, and everyone was like had these huge smiles on their faces, and it was just so much fun as they would wander through this piece and then experience this big projection of laser light onto this big beautiful oak tree along the river in Cambridge.
You like vinyls? You want to like look around and see?
Sure.
Maybe do a walk-in talk and maybe see what kind of vinyls you might be. Yeah.
They put my favorites kind of together over here for whatever reason. The jazz and the electronic. Yeah, Tangerine Dream. That's it. Like an ambient classic there. Stuff you can really just chill out to and put it on, stare at the ceiling for a while.
Just vibe out to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only have like 5 or 6 records. But it's mainly a lot of reggae. And then I just put it on as like the type of like Sunday cleaning type music.
Nice.
And I just like kind of sit out to it, and then I'll probably replay the records probably 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, definitely. Have you ever heard of Reggae Man?
Reggae Man?
Yeah.
No.
That's something I ended up with from some vinyl show, and it's so incredibly fun.
Huh.
And it really it's got it's like that such high energy reggae actually. So yeah, check that. Listen to that.
Reggae
sometime.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah.
Made me think of like Yellow Man, and I always like to look in music and history, and then culture, kind of like the intersection of all three.
Yeah.
Like and somehow there's a point where like DJ culture came into, like I think it kind of started in New York, but it also came into Toronto as well. Kind of like looking into like the 70s and the early 80s with dance hall artists from like the 70s and 80s. They came down, they had their stuff. Some of them lived here, and then they brought in subwoofers and parties, and then like the DJ culture kind of emerged, and then obviously hip hop culture kind of emerged. And it's always kind of cool seeing how music kind of takes off in different forms.
Right. Yeah. There's different groups kind of rubbing up against each other, and sharing different venues, and like you're going to each other's events. I think is a wonderful thing, and like you might be into what you're into, and like showing up for to that space, so that to some colleagues that are throwing together a different type of event, like that means a lot as well. And looking outside of maybe the genre that you're usually in, I think it's a good way to like cross paths with new people and think of new collaborations.
Exactly.
And create new opportunities for yourself and for others, and you're really trying to lift others up is a good always a good intention.
Always.
There are lots of venues that only sort of partake in certain times of the year, and I'm thinking of all these venues have these shows going in April for Jazz Fest, and it's a wonderful time because there's so many more events in that month than other times in the year. So like UNESCO heritage site is a wonderful thing, I think, and I hope to see more emphasis on that, I guess, over the years, and more genres supported, and like let's focus on more of the local music and supporting the local artists as a music city.
Exactly. So maybe now we can talk more over a beer at London Brewing.
Sure. Sounds good.
Right, let's do it.
Cheers, Omar.
Cheers. I don't know why.
Good to know you.
Yeah, cheers. Good to know you. I don't know why I got the hazy IPA, but
Why not?
I said, hey, why not? You live once. we coincidentally also just came here for a music event as well. I don't know what the event will be, but
Yeah, at some point there'll be some music. In terms of programming, like you can't beat the brewing co-op here. Like they do so much. Like the Sunfest block parties. Like those have been some really epic nights.
we're behind those. Yeah,
They,
'cause I've
yeah,
seen like a little bit of. I don't know where I saw it. It was probably on like the Sunfest page.
yeah, yeah. They had them here like in the summer. That was like incredible. And then I think they're even more recently. They did another weekend.
What is your favorite thing about London?
Well, London in general, I think there's some idea around the opportunity of it, of its, it's very much emerging, and I like in terms of what I'm really excited about. There's so much room to grow, better or worse. Thinking of my passions for art and music and exploring different venues and alternative venues and getting people excited to go out and do something different. Like we were just talking to some people about Palace Theatre, and they're trying to reinvigorate that space. And there's it's like, yeah, that's exactly the kind of stuff that really fires me up, because it's this legendary location struggling, from all of the issues that there are here, and in different ways, and internally, externally, that they're trying to do something with it, and I think that's amazing. And I think places like that, the Highlands, are incredible venues for film and other things as well. Like you could do some kind of like hybrid events where it's film and performance and music and just community building. So I think they're wonderful. The theaters are wonderful places to bring everyone together and have really put people on a stage with the opportunity for a large audience. So yeah, London it's great to be here as things are developing, and we've got different places that are exploring these different genres, and it's easier. You can find your niche here, and there's still going to be, with the few other people that are interested in it, you create some strong bonds that way. Yeah, I think that's the good way to go about it. Is, hey, I'm really into this. I heard you are too. And not to let any ideas of, that's like a different group or a different territory that I'm not so involved with. Like I think that's a barrier that you've got to your best to look past and just try and make that human connection or that artistic connection where you're just like, hey, I like this. I heard you like it too. So why don't we meet for a coffee? Starting with simple things like that.
Have you had any hurdles that you've experienced that made you who you are today? Is there any maybe what's the worst experience?
Yeah. Well, in this area of like interactive and immersive art, like there's a lot of technology involved that can sometimes work with you or against you, and that's a hurdle. I was talking about the Winterfests earlier, and we know that electronics don't like the cold, so that's always a struggle of like, okay, what's the temperature? It's at night. How long do you want it to run for? Like, how do you make things work in these different environments where maybe it's cold and wet, or it's really hot, it's outside, and you want to hang some component from a tree. Like it's like there's electricity required. How do you keep it safe and and fun at the same time. So that's always part of the challenge is like, oh, and then if there's some expensive equipment, but people want it to be running for a long time or over the course of days or weeks, how do you set it up so all of that equipment is safely stored and then it spins up nicely and runs smoothly and stays running smoothly, and then without having to be there all the time, like to babysit it.
Yeah.
So those are absolutely big areas of challenge, and trying to find smaller components that can fit nicely into cases and locked up and tucked away and hidden. That's a part of the fun as well, because you just want the experience to live, and not necessarily be showing off the equipment that's behind it. You really want people to feel only what you intend them to experience, and not have to watch for cables and wires hanging and things dangling and be too aware of what's happening behind the scenes, because you're sharing the stage with the installation. Really, it's not a show where there's this curtain and this dark area behind the performers. It's the audience is up there with the art. So that's a really fun and engaging and always interesting part of this medium, I think.
To date, what has been your favorite experience so far?
So I think both that Winterfest in Cambridge was a really special night, but Nuit Blanche London, and they probably deserve a shout out here because they brought it. There was a group of people, the London Society of Architects, that were able to bring that back to the city after it hadn't been happening for probably 5 years or so. And so last September, we had a Nuit Blanche London, and there was a number of art installations along Dundas, and we set up in the evening in September, and I did a projection mapping piece onto the Fanshawe building. And so like there was the building with the culinary workshops, and so I was on the sidewalk with a rented projector, and that was positioned, and so it would light up the facade of the building. And then there was also an app that people could access, a web app that they could then influence and interact with the piece. And so it was this idea of nature and architecture intertwining, and it was another very public appearance that we got to, I was there, everybody was there, the audience, we got to talk to people and experience it with them, and it was all just for that one night. So we set up and we let it loose, and then and along with everything else happening at Nuit Blanche, like people would be walking up and down the street, and it was like this big, large-scale installation that that people would stop and have a look at. So that was really special. Yeah, yeah. It was great for that to make a return to the city, and it's coming back again this year. They just opened the call for submissions, and so yeah, keep an eye out for that. It'll be back in September.